In this tutorial, I will be demonstrating how to create basic charts using SPSS. The data that we'll be using in this first part of the tutorial come from the 2008 General Social Survey. The General Social Survey uses a national probability frame and is administered to about 2,000 individuals almost every other year. So we'll be using a portion of the data from 2008. Construct graphs in SPSS, we'll use the SPSS chart builder that can be accessed under the graphs menu towards the top of either the data window or the output window. Here I've got the data window up front and center, so I'll move my cursor up to the graph menu, left mouse button to open that menu, come down to highlight the chart builder, left mouse click, and we're brought to the chart builder dialog screen. What you see on the screen before you now is the chart builder window. It has three components that I'd like to point out. First, in the upper left hand corner of the chart builder window is the list of variables in the data set. You can scroll down through or up through to see all the different variables we have in the data set. Towards the bottom of the window are the list of chart options. Now you notice under the chooses from, you'll notice from are the list of different types of graphs that we can use. And each one of them, when we click and highlight them, indicates the different options for each type. We'll go back and highlight bars since that's where we'll start. Then towards the upper right hand portion of this window is the preview section. This is where we will construct our charts as well as get a quick little indication as to what they might look like. What we'll build is a simple bar chart. I'll move my cursor, make sure that bar is chosen from under choose from, left mouse click to select the very first one, which is a simple bar graph, click and drag with the left mouse button up to the preview section, and we'll see this is the basic dimension of our simple bar chart. I'll come down and find the variable marital, which is marital status for the respondents, click and drag to bring this across into the x-axis box there, and you notice what automatically appears on the y-axis is count, so it's going to report the frequency, and we see a brief indication as to what the bars look like. Now once I created this chart, you'll notice that another window opened to the right hand part of the chart builder, element properties, and this is where we can control and see some of the properties of our charts. Now presently under statistics, you'll notice that the statistic that is selected is count. I'll show you how to change that in a moment, but for right now this is our first basic chart, so we'll just click OK. It takes us back to the output window where it's going to store all of our information, and you notice the first part of the output associated with the chart builder that we just used are the internal commands that chart builder executed for us. As we scroll down further, we'll see the actual result of the graph. Our chart for this nominal variable marital status. Let's go back up and build this chart again, but let's change some aspects of it. Now you notice I'm in the output window, which still has the graph menu towards the top. Move the cursor up to the graph menu, left mouse click to open the menu, select chart builder, and you notice what it does, it still retains the information and the options we used for the last graph that we generated. Well, I'm still going to use the marital variable, but this time I'll go over to the element properties, and instead of count I will select %. Click apply, and you notice now the x-axis label, the y-axis label now reports percentage instead of count. Another thing I'd like to do is to add some titles. So I'll move back over to under the gallery where we see titles and footnotes tab, click on that with the left mouse button, click on title 1, and I'll type in bar chart Now we have to click Add. Now I will click Select Title 2, and this time I'll put in Respondent Marital Status to describe the variable. Click Apply. And it's always good in any chart to report, if you can, the source of the data if it's not original data. So I'll click Footnote 1, come back over to the Content window here under Element Properties. I'll type in source, colon, and 2008 General Social Survey. Click Apply. Now I'll click OK. Again, you see the first part of the output that's added on to our log from this set of operations are the internal SAS command, SPSS commands that we just executed. And we scroll down, and there's our graph. Notice we see our two titles towards the top. We notice that it's percent, and also we see down towards the bottom the source, the footnote for 2008 General Social Survey. Our chart that reports the percent of respondents in each marital status. Let me show you how to modify this to make it a little bit look different. I'll move my cursor on top of the graph, double click, and what this does is brings us to our chart editor. At this point now, we're able to modify portions of the graph. First of all, move the cursor to the middle of the chart area, and I'll double click once. Now you notice the properties that come up to the right hand side of our screen. What I'm going to do is to remove the fill. Currently it's a gray color. I'll click in that fill button, come over and choose this option that's transparent, which means no fill. I'll click Apply, and you notice now we have no fill. I also would like to have a little bit thicker border around the chart area. So while the chart area is still highlighted and we still see the properties windows open for the chart area, I'll come down to weight, and I'll choose a weight of 2. I could change the style if I want to, but I'll keep it as it is now. Click Apply. And there you notice now we have a little bit darker border around the chart area. The next thing I'd like to do is to change the colors of the bars. Move over to the bars, double click once, and you'll see the fill area is that tannish color. Again, click in the fill area, and let's say I want to choose orange for the bar. And now I'll click Apply, and you notice our bars are now orange. I can even change this background area inside the chart area. Double click in that area, and let's say I want to choose yellow for the fill. Click Apply, and now I've changed the fill area color. The next thing I'd like to do quickly is to change the font perhaps. Instead of using the font that is the default, I'll double click over where it says bar chart and that title, and I'll come over to text style. Instead of sans serif, let's say I'd like to use perhaps Garamond. So I'll move the cursor to find Garamond, select on it, click on it, then click Apply. I'll do the same thing. Well, notice it's a little small now, so I'll go back and I'll make it 16 for font size. I'll do the same thing for the second title. Click over Respondent Marital Status. Notice a box appears around it, indicate it's now selected text. Change that text to Garamond. And since Garamond looks a little bit smaller when it's displayed, I'll make that a little larger. Again, 16 for font size. I can also change the labels by double clicking over on percent. I'll change that to Garamond. I'll make that a little larger. I'll choose 12 for a font size and apply. I'll do the same thing for the labels on the x-axis, the numbers. I'll change that to Garamond. I'll make that a font size of 10. Apply. I'll do the same thing for the remaining portion of the chart. Now once you're done making the changes to your chart, so it's visually how you would like it, just go ahead and click on the Close button towards the upper right hand portion of the chart editor window. And there we now have our changed chart, our modified chart, that is in our log.